Next News, breaking news.
Capitol Hill just got a brutal reality check. Democrats tried to paint President Trump and the Secretary of War Pete Hegseth as reckless over Iran, hoping to revive the old Iraq playbook and scare the country into doubting an America First operation that's hitting Tehran hard. But instead of backing down, Hegseth detonated their narrative in real time. He called out the defeatism, the media spin, and the rank hypocrisy of the same people who defended weakness for years under the Biden administration. Then the attacks got even uglier with fresh smears about President Trump's mental fitness. What happened next exposed the entire game, and this matters because when Democrats and their media allies scream quagmire just months into a targeted campaign, they're not just attacking President Trump, they're attacking American leverage, undermining troop morale, and giving comfort to hostile regimes watching every word out of Washington. The Trump administration is making clear this is not nation building, not an open-ended occupation, and not another blank check for failure. This is pressure with a purpose: cripple Iran's military capability, squeeze the regime economically, and force negotiations on America's terms. Now, for viewers at home, that means the difference between decisive strength now and a bigger, bloodier problem later. And it means whether your sons and daughters are protected by deterrence or put at risk by hesitation. Now, politically, it also exposes the left's playbook. They ignored the obvious decline of Joe Biden when he was president, but now suddenly they want hearings, outrage, and breathless questions about fitness because Trump is winning? That's not oversight. That's panic dressed up as principle. And while the media machine tries to whip up fear over every headline, there's another trap that regular Americans need to avoid. Now, Noble Gold Investment's been sounding the alarm on this for years. See, Wall Street doesn't lose money on sell-offs, you do. They create the panic, wait for you to dump your position out of fear, and scoop it up at a discount. The big banks aren't selling their gold, they're buying yours. Every time the headlines scream, regular people sell. Every time regular people sell, the institutions are right there waiting with open hands. You built portfolio insurance for a reason. Don't let a red day hand it over to the people who caused it. That's why I tell people, look at real protection, not media noise. Go to nextnewsgold.com, it's linked below, and learn how you may qualify for a free 10th ounce American Gold Eagle while you protect what you've earned. Now back to the Capitol Hill meltdown. The corporate press does not want you to see, but will show you. Because the biggest reveal here was not, the rant. It was Hegseth's precision strike on Democrat credibility. When Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs tried to question whether President Trump is mentally stable enough to serve as Commander-in-Chief, Hegseth turned the spotlight right back where it belonged on the same Democrats who spent years pretending Joe Biden was sharp in control and fully capable while the country watched something very different. That one exchange blew a hole straight through the left's moral posturing. Here is the Secretary of War destroying Representative Sarah Jacobs. Watch this.
Do you believe that the president is mentally stable enough to be the Commander-in-Chief?
Did you ask the same question of Joe Biden for 4 years?
Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is not the president. Mr. Trump has been president for a year and a half, and I'm asking you
did
right
not,
now.
and I won't even engage with the level of disparagement that you're putting on the Commander-in-Chief, who indeed is.
Mr. Secretary,
every single day.
Mr. Secretary, Biden is not the president.
He's the sharpest, most insightful Commander-in-Chief we've had in generations. And you want to compare, you want to ask that question after you and your fellow Democrats defended Joe Biden, who could barely speak and didn't know what day of the week it was?
As you know,
he governed through an auto pen. He had a Secretary of Defense who went AWOL for a week. I can't be gone for 10 minutes.
I will reclaim my time.
Thank you so much. Ladies' time.
Reclaim my time. Reclaim my time. Sure. He shut down Jacobs' Biden-era amnesia in real time. Now the conversation moves to Robert Barnes, who's throwing his own shot at Trump's mental fitness. Rather shocking, in fact. He says Trump's mental state, rapid mood shifts, reduced inhibitions, unfettered offensive comments, and unusual decisions, increased agitation, confusion, restlessness, confabulation, imagining fake things as true, and vice versa, early-stage dementia. Robert Barnes, what a frickin' joke. He goes straight for the dementia. Then I fired back with a blunt response and made clear exactly what I think. Glad I never had you on my network when you were cool. See, that hits right with Democrats on Capitol Hill start pushing the same anti-Trump line. Here's Congressman John Garamendi claiming Trump and Hegseth misled the country on Iran and says we're stuck in another endless war.
I don't believe a thing the president says. He lies every day, gets up in the morning, lies, and goes to bed at night lying. In between, there is just one statement after the other, which is foolish and not supported by any of the evidence. Secretary Hegseth does the same. They've never explained to America why we went to war and what they expect to do. Not change that. Actually, they have a different explanation every other hour. The bottom line is that this is a war that has been conducted with chaos. This is a war that has been extraordinarily expensive, depleting our key munitions and depriving the Indo-Pacific of the assets it needs, the Navy and the like. Bottom line is, we're stuck. America is stuck in another Middle East quagmire. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. This is what you've done for the American people. Brought us back to a Middle East war.
Yeah. Secretary Hegseth will be...
So he calls it chaos and the quagmire before the hearing. Next, Hegseth unloads on that claim, says it's a slap on the troops and demands to know whose side Democrats are on. The Secretary of War literally calling him out for that hit on CNN. Listen.
But if I may.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't get a chance. I didn't see a question in the statement from the congressman. I hope you appreciate how reckless it is. When I said reckless, feckless, and defeatist of congressional Democrats at the beginning, that came after watching you say the same thing on CNN this morning, a quagmire. My generation served in a quagmire in Iraq and Afghanistan, years and years of nebulous missions and utopian nation building that led us to nothing. What we have right now, the way you stain the troops when you tell them 2 months in, Congressman, you should know better. Shame on you. Calling this a quagmire 2 months in. The effort, what they've undertaken, what they've succeeded, the success on the battlefield that could create strategic opportunities, the courage of a president to confront a nuclear Iran, and you call it a quagmire, handing propaganda to our enemies. Shame on you for that statement. And statements like that are reckless to our troops. Don't say I support the troops on one hand and then a 2-month mission is a quagmire. That's a false equivalation. Who are you cheering for here? Who are you pulling for? Our troops are doing incredible work. They've done incredible things for the entirety of this mission and achieved incredible battlefield successes. And you sit there and go on TV for your clickbait about quagmires. It undermines the mission. Your hatred for President Trump blinds you to the truth of the success of this mission and the historic stakes that the president is addressing, which the American people support. Iran's been at war with us for 47 years. You want to talk about a forever war? For 2 months, this president has stared them down. He's going to get a better deal than anyone ever has and ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. I know the American people support that mission, despite your loose talk and words like quagmire.
Yes, he lit him up. Lit him up. So here's the truth the establishment cannot stand. This fight is really about who gets to define strength in America. Garamendi called the operation a quagmire. Hegseth answered with the words every patriot needed to hear. A quagmire was Iraq and Afghanistan, years of vague missions and failed nation building. This is not that. This is a limited campaign creating strategic opportunities against a nuclear-seeking regime backed by a president willing to act. And when left-wing commentator Robert Barnes tried pushing the early-stage dementia smear against Trump, even that got swatted down fast. Why? Because the old script is broken. The media can't sell weakness as wisdom anymore. And President Trump is setting the terms, Hegseth is defending them, and Democrats are flailing because American strength is back in charge. So the takeaway is very simple. Democrats wanted another made-for-TV panic cycle, but what they exposed instead was their own hypocrisy. They defended disorder during the previous administration, covered for Biden's decline when Biden was president, and now they want to lecture the country about competence while President Trump is projecting force, clarity, and purpose. Hegseth did not just answer the question, he buried them. This administration is saying loud and clear that America will not drift, will not apologize, it will not let hostile powers dictate the pace. If you agree that calling this a quagmire 2 months in is reckless political theater, then share this report right now. Comment below with a yes or no. Do you support President Trump's Iran strategy? Make sure you subscribe, tap notifications, but most importantly, text our secret number that's on your screen right there. Text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963 to bypass big tech suppression and get direct alerts from me to your phone. Check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Stay bold, stay free, and keep fighting for the truth.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.